Okay, so we are back to what we do best, kit bashing action figures, especially G.I. Joe Classified Series line. Okay, so this is how the kit bash table looks with all of the mess to recreate this guy and that flight pad. So see you on the review table. Okay, so kitbashed action figure, the Tele-Viper, and a kitbashed flight pad or the Trubble bubble. But first, let us tackle the pilot or the Tele-Viper. Okay, so let us first do a quick 360 view of the action figure. So as you would notice, the parts that we changed on this action figure is going to be the body and the arm sets, because these parts really threw off the entire action figure. It really made it look super cheesy and super corny because it's yellow. Okay, so corn is yellow, cheese is yellow, so that's it. Okay, so instead of getting rid of the pythonization stripes on the pants, well, it still adds detail to the action figure. So instead of all gray, all drab, I'd rather have those pythonization stripes. It still looks good on the action figure anyway. Okay, so just an homage to the original O-ring Tele-Viper, wherein it was all colored violet or dark blue or something. So this is more on the grays this time, and a little bit of course, nice trimming of yellow instead of gray on the flight helmet or the Tele-Viper helmet. So still adds flair to the action figure. Okay, so for the weapon system of the action figure, so he has his survival vest and his weapon or ammunition belt. So let's give him a SMG, so that is readily available, accessible, something that we already have on board. So instead of buying additional weapons from Gridiron or possibly Valorverse, make use of what is there. That is still a part that we bought from a action figure anyway, so let's make use of it. Okay, so with regards to the telecommunication backpack or the communication backpack and the jammer gun, so I call this the jammer gun because, well, you don't use this as an antenna anyway. The backpack has an antenna, but I shortened it for a reason, because well, I'm going to show that later on when we attach this backpack to the Trubble bubble or the flight pad. Okay, so anyway, that is a jamming device, communication jamming device, or as I remember, audio visual something. Okay, anyway, so it really does not need a stack. It does not fire bullets anyway, or lasers or beams. So it emits rays or it jams devices. So there's no recoil. So that's just added weight, and it throws off the weapon anyway, and it looks cooler as a jamming device, wherein, yep, you just use this and a man-portable system that you could use in the field. So instead of having a vehicle with a very big system that would jam communication of the enemy, a portable system like this is very conducive for combat or eluding the enemy or distracting the enemy, especially communication. Okay, so Nothing very fancy, very simple kitbash. So let's move on to the flight pad or the Trubble bubble. Okay, so pilot, Tele-Viper, and his flight pad. Okay, so let us take the pilot to the side first. So this is my kitbash version of the Trubble bubble, Python Patrol. Not much on the paint side, so it still retains its original color, yellow, red, and Pythonization silver stripes. So let us first do a 360 view of the Trubble bubble. Okay, so changes. Just a little bit of paint where it is needed. So because there's just way too much yellow on this guy, just like the action figure. That is the reason why it really threw off the look of the action figure, and it did not sell as much as the first version. Okay, so just very simple thing where we used a Gundam marker and black nail polish and silver nail polish, so we detailed the missiles. So left and right missiles would have those details, so detailing or stripes or a little bit of panel lining, and of course the warhead tip, so black and silver. So I hope the camera catches that. So it's a black and silver tip, and my nails are long for this project. I'll be cutting them off later on. Well, of course it's very hard to really do things if you have really short nails. So a little bit of nails is needed when I do something like this or this, and then I cut them off anyway. Okay, so let's go back to the kitbash. So addition, so that's a different gun, and I added a footrest, so left and right footrest for the pilot. So instead of him piloting the Trubble bubble and his legs would dangle left and right, back and forth, and he has to hold on to the flight controls, so he has a place wherein he could take command of his personal space and balance by planting his foot on those rests. So actually very simple. So that weapon system that belongs to, well, you know where it belongs to. So I just cut off the round portion of the peg where the original gun of the Trubble bubble was. So I just cut it off and made a hole for the minigun and glued it to the underside, and also made holes for the footrests. So actually as a customizer, I also make mistakes, as you could see. Well, anyway, this way or that way, it really isn't that noticeable much. But when you tilt the Trubble bubble, you know that I made a mistake with regards to how these two pegs are aligned. Okay, so just very simple tweaks here and there, little bit of paint, exchange of weapon, addition of foot pegs, and I also painted the headlamps and made a hole on this portion of the flight control. So I drilled a hole there. I was thinking of drilling a hole on the underside, but this is the position where I'm going to have a transparent flight stand, so it's going to hover this way. So instead of having this attached there, I just made a hole on this section where the aerial landmine, as the comics or the G.I. Joe or Cobra lore would have it, so it's easily deployed or mounted at the front of the Trubble bubble. Anyway, wherever you place it, that is a mine, that is an explosive device, so if it gets hit, it explodes, then he's in trouble. Or if the Joes would hit the missile pads, then this guy is in trouble. Or if the Trubble bubble gets hit anywhere on the side of the craft, then this guy is in trouble. No time to say his prayers, just crash and burn. Anyway, okay, so that is an attachment for the mine. And also what I did was to, when you open this right out of packaging, that is going to be a really bland looking mine that is all black inside. So I just used a little bit of paint, little bit of silver to really liven up this portion of the mine. Okay, so I have an option of where I'm going to place this, and I could still attach a flight stand for this flight pad. And I have the option of either mounting this or a jamming device. Just very simple. So just take this off from the action figure. So that's also the reason why I cut the antenna short, because I could do it this way, attach it that way, and have the jamming device pointing forwards, and with the peg that still attaches to the flight pad easy, that way. Because if I had the hose attached to this section, it just won't hold a really nice position, and it's going to be everywhere, and the gun won't be pointing to a direction that I want. So instead of doing it or connecting the hose on this section of the flight pad, I connected it here. Anyway, it's my toy, so my rules, how I want it positioned or how it looks. Okay, so that's it. So instead of a aerial landmine, we have a jamming device, which is more beneficial as a weapon system, wherein you could shoot these the waves that this weapon system would emit to a far larger area, instead of having a back paneled or back carried jamming device. So it's going to be an aerial jamming device, more effective actually. And you have a 6 barreled weapon system instead of the 1 barrel that the original design had. So I also painted a little bit of black on the ends of the barrel to mimic crud. Or of course, when you fire a weapon, it's going to be burned on the barrel ends or the muzzle. So that's also an effect. Okay, so let's mount this guy to that flight pad. Okay, so this is how the Tele-Viper and the Python Patrol Trubble Bubble would look on a flight stand. So this flight stand is going to come from Marvel Legends, from this Black Widow action figure. Okay, so perfect flight stand for the Trubble Bubble, and we still have effects on the base. So as you could see, the addition of footrests would make sense. And the mounting system for the aerial mine is placed there, so it could easily be deployed. So just push on a button, possibly that button over there. I think that's a activation or release button. This one, that because I don't see any other buttons on this mine. So on this position, you could easily just reach out and release this mine, and it's going to float in the air. Okay, so that way I could tilt this left or right as I please, or forwards, backwards, upwards. So that is how it looks on a flight stand. Okay, other thing that I noticed on my set, it does not have the trouble or problems that other collectors would point out with regards to the canopy. Mine would shut off and peg in planes. And that is how the action figure looks with his new colors. The gray really matches the cockpit really well. So instead of a really ridiculous, corny or cheesy yellow shirt or combat shirt or flight shirt, gray would really complement this set well. So if you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure or custom action figure review.